It's been described as the worst maternity scandal in the history of the NHS. Today, a long-awaited report into harm caused to babies and mums at one hospital trust in the Midlands was released. An inquiry was initially set up in 2017 to look into the cases of 23 families, but that number grew to more than 1,800 families. The full extent of the problems at Shrewsbury and Telford Hospital's NHS Trust is now really emerging. Our reporter Balvinder Sidhu has the details. Balvinder, over to you.
Good afternoon, Colin. Yes, that's right. This long-awaited review has taken 5 years in the making. It was set up in 2017 after 23 families came forward, and that number, as you mentioned, did grow. But subsequently, almost 1,600 cases of clinical incidents were investigated by senior midwife Donna Ockenden. And we can tell you today that the report found that more than 200 babies and 9 mothers would have survived had there been better care at the Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust. Babies were stillborn, they were born with severe brain damage, injuries, mothers were left with lifelong conditions as a consequence of poor treatment. Why did this happen? Well, there was a culture of not encouraging women to have a C-section or forcing them into natural labour, which meant as a consequence that there were problems when they were delivering babies. Families were not listened to. Now, these cases date back to 2000 and they span 2 decades. And in 2002, one mother I interviewed earlier told me that she was making noise then, but nobody listened. Incidents were not properly investigated, and had they been properly investigated, they would have learnt lessons and improvements would have been made, and that never happened. There's not enough staffing, there's not enough training, there were missed opportunities time and time again. Now, between the period of 2011 and 2019, 40% of stillbirths and 43% of neonatal deaths were never investigated, and this just led to more and more cases. Instead of listening to families, mothers were blamed for the situation they were in. So today, Donna Ockenden, she said, I mean, this is probably the most damning report that's come out of a maternity service. She said the services, the board, the head of these hospitals failed to investigate, they failed to learn, and they failed to improve. Now, she has recommended that 60 changes be made immediately to the way the trust works, and she's also recommended that locally and nationally 15 targets are met immediately. She wants to see this as a watershed moment for maternity services across the country, not just here in Shrewsbury. In a statement, the Trust have said that, the Chief Executive of the Trust has said that the findings are deeply distressing. She apologises for the pain and distress caused, and they take full responsibility for their failings as a trust. Now, these families, this review would never have happened had it not been for the families who made noise initially. They are the ones that raised their voices, raised their concerns, and as a consequence, this review has been held. There is a criminal investigation also going on at the same time, which is very much active, and that started in 2017, and it involves 600 cases. Sajid Javid spoke in Parliament earlier as well, and he said that senior members who were working at the Trust at the time have been suspended or removed from their posts, and that they will be looking to make these changes immediately as soon as possible. An action plan will be developed to improve maternity services, not just here but across the country.